You can't sleep either. How about a good night story? Here's one. Far-Flung Self. I've never seen it before, I say. But you'll admit it's your arm, says the policeman. I know what my arm looks like. Officer, this isn't it. It's not even the right size. Reviewing the evidence, which is to say it's attached to your arm, sir. This isn't my hand, you fool. This isn't my arm. I don't have tattoos. You have one right there on your bicep, sir. Who's Tricia? That's not my arm, I say. My God, is there anyone else I can talk to? Eventually I get to see someone higher up the chain. Not because they believe me, but because I'm starting to scare the other people in the police station. Although I don't know what they've got to worry about. They aren't the ones who woke up with body parts replaced this morning. I mean, who would do such a thing? This way, sir, says the new officer. He's one of those big, solid men. Unflappable, if you want to put a positive spin on it. Unimaginative. Which I suppose is a good thing in a police officer. We sit in an interrogation room, me and the arm, leg and ears that don't belong to me. It's the ears I'm worried about. What seems to be the trouble? The policeman gives me an encouraging look, but there's a second policeman behind me, and he suddenly moves, and he'll only be too happy to restrain me. I sit on my right arm, then wrap my left leg around the leg which doesn't belong to me. I don't want them threatening the police and getting me in trouble. Officer, I say, I woke up this morning and somebody has taken my leg and arm and giving me these in their place. I nod toward my restrained limbs. And who do you think might have done such a thing, sir? He's got me. Who would do such a thing? I don't have any enemies. We get this a lot, sir, he says. Oh, yes. He leans back in his chair. I shift my weight. I think the arm that doesn't belong to me might be getting pins and needles, and I don't want to hurt the poor thing. Just want my own one back. People wake up, he says, and it's usually a Thursday, say, like today. Their legs, their arms, their eyes, or whatever. They say they don't belong to them anymore, and I always ask, who do you think might have done it? What do they say? I don't know. Exactly, sir. I don't know. I'd love to help if I could. I woke up feeling funny once myself one morning, so I do understand. But you get used to it. The alternative would be for me to drag in the entire population and ask them where they were last night and whether they hold a particular grudge against you. The majority won't even know who you are, and then I'll have to describe you, sir, and go into your life story until they get a feel for who you are as a person, sir. And you know what? It takes quite a while. And you'll find that people who had never even heard of you and didn't hold a grudge against you, sir, well, after a few weeks of hearing about you in this room, they'll pretty much all hate you, sir. And we still have no evidence. Would you like that, sir? I mean, maybe we'll even find out who stole your leg and arm, but the entire population of the country will hate your guts. But, he held up a hand, hear me out. I'm not saying we won't proceed. I'm saying maybe you'll get used to the new arm and leg. This the new arm? Looks quite nice, sir, and if you ever meet a girl called Tricia, well, you've already got the tattoo. Some other poor bugger had the pain of that, and you'll be the one to benefit. He stood up, and although I wasn't happy, it made a certain sense. My new arm, my false arm, jumped out to grab his arm, and they shook. It felt like an unusual shake, one of those secret handshakes you hear about. Then the policeman leaned in and whispered something to me. I'm sure it was important, but they weren't my ears. They didn't work for me, and I couldn't hear it. He walked me to the door. He walked a little lopsided. A lot of people looked strange. It seemed to me that that man's eyes were too wide for his face, and that man's mouth kept muttering as if it wasn't completely under his control. A lady over there definitely had one shoulder higher than the other. Behind the front desk, the woman had 2 shades of hair, brunette and blonde. Outside, people stumbled along to work. 2 young boys in school shirts and shorts. And surely those couldn't be their real knees and elbows. So knobbly. A man in a tan suit had jowls too large for his thin face and a pot belly that belonged to a much fatter man. Still, I'd be late myself if I didn't get a move on. The sun was hot. When I looked at it, it seemed to waver as just settling in, almost right, but not quite. All right, good night.